So Cern Basher isn't here today, and of course, I can't possibly outdo Cern Basher, but I thought I would imitate him today, and we'll throw up a bunch of charts. We'll talk about the charts and see if it's fun. And then next week, Cern will be back, and he can get back to doing what Cern does. Well, let's start with just a quick chart to show where Tesla was last time I checked. It was up $1.80, I'm sorry, 1.82%. Yeah, it's about $3.40. It had been up as much as $4 just a little while ago. Actually got above 180 and then slid back down to 178.19. Now, there could be a reason for that, but typically when there's a bunch of sales, even if it's the end of the quarter, when there's a bunch of sales, sometimes the stock market doesn't like it because they think, well, there go the margins. But it is end of the quarter. And according to Gary Black, when it's end of the quarter, it's not as big a deal as when it's kind of a general reduction in price. So if we believe Gary on that, and that makes a certain amount of sense, then maybe the prices of the stock has gone up, at least partially, because there is a deal right now to move more metal by the end of the month. There's also deals which are much bigger deals, but similar end of the month deals to give a 1.99% financing. Those are pretty expensive when it comes down to it, but maybe that's why we're seeing some activity in the stock. Now, it could also be that there was a report out early this morning that was suggesting that the test from Barron's was saying it looks like the compensation package is going to pass. They were kind of just connecting dots and stuff. They weren't really, my feeling wasn't that they weren't doing any more analysis than I have done to try to figure that out. And I don't know what's going to happen on Thursday. Sure, the momentum looks good, but we'll see what happens. All right, so now this is the non-farm business sector real hourly compensation for all workers. Now, if you look at this, you can see that in 2013, if you use that as the beginning number, we've got $95. All the way from 2013 up until 2020, that went from that $95 all the way up to $112. Now, this is the real hourly compensation, meaning after taking into consideration inflation. Well, you'll notice it really went up very nicely from 26 to 2020, stayed up there pretty good in 2021, 22, and then it's been coming down ever since. I don't know. I'm not going to be political here. I mean, you're expecting me to be political, but let's just take a look. If we look at the confidence that the president has, can do the right thing with regard to the U.S. economy, well, then what you'd see is that the current president, I'm blocking his name here. That's not good. Joe Biden is now got the record. He has managed to get himself, well, I guess he's tied with George W. Bush at the very bottom of the horrible end of his time in office. Joe Biden is now at that level. So at least of the last four presidents, Joe Biden is not doing well. And maybe that's because real incomes have been going down that much. They kind of look like they're correlating. All right, let's see. What else have we got in here? What other kind of charts have we got? Household net worths. I keep getting in the way of all of these things. Let me put it down here. You know what? No matter where I put myself, it's gonna be a problem. Okay, so this is household net worths. We going up like crazy. So in other words, the average working stiff, his income is going down in terms of real income because of inflation. But at the same time, what does inflation do? It drives up the asset values. So this is a net worth of average households going from, it's got a little bit, let me just move this over. Whoops, let me go back. I don't think I can move it. All right, so in any case, it's gone up to over $1 million. So the average household net worth is now over $1 million as of 2023. So, the rich are getting richer. Now, let's see, this is number of millionaires reaches a record as well. We now have 485,000 millionaires as of 2024. So if you're a millionaire now, it's not really that big a deal. I think it's about 17% of the population have a household net worth of over $1 million. So the folks that are working hard, they're looking here and they're losing out. And the folks that are, got their money in their homes and in their stock market and bonds and all the rest of this kind of stuff, they're all doing really, really well. All right, let's see. What about average net worth? Well, there you can see it again. Whether you use the nominal mean or the real mean doesn't make any difference. In either case, the average net worth right now is over $1 million. Let that sink in. All right, let's go here. US. So one of the reasons why there's so many millionaires now is because the median US home price is up nearly 50% since 2020. So you look at here, go all the way back to 1965 or so, and you can, or it might even be back to 1960, and you can see what's happened with the median sales price. Now, this is a actual sales price. So it's gone from about $20,000, maybe 20,000 as a guess, all the way up to over 400. So it's right around $440,000. But just since 2010, it's gone up from about 200,000 to 400,000, doubling. And if you go from 2020 until right now, you've got this 50% increase. So would that cause young people and even some of the millennials who didn't get in on the house buying deal to feel a little discouraged? Yeah, it might. You could see that. Well, but now people are concerned. Well, there's price cuts on U.S. housing this year, more price cuts than we've seen since 2018. What's going on? Are we at the beginning of another bad time? Well, as I've pointed out again, and this is really, really important to pay attention to, the reason you've got a lot of price cutting going on right now is because the market got shifted. If you haven't been listening to the show the last couple of days, I've been talking about this. Over the October to early March period, which is normally seasonally really bad in the real estate market, it was really good. New houses, existing homes, all did off the charts well in that time period. So as a result, that's why housing prices are so high. You normally see an actual drop, more price cuts, drops in prices, a little bit of at least smoothing off. During that October to March period. You didn't get it last year. So what's happening now? A bunch of people that were planning to buy a house this year already bought it during the off season, and they don't need to buy one now. So you're seeing a little more inventory on the market, a little less demand because it's already been taken up. That demand has already been taken up. You've got interest rates sitting right at 7%. So you're starting to see some people cutting some prices. So that's the explanation. All right, what else have we got here? All right, this is the St. Louis Fed's Financial Stress Index. Notice that the Fed is saying that folks are not under financial stress. Look at that. But somebody pointed out that it looks like almost every time that we get down to one of these low points, it gets popped up right after that. So we'll see what happens. But right now, the average folks, the average people out there are not feeling financial stress. Now, the fact is that, again, we may be in two completely different markets where people in the upper 50% or so are not feeling financial stress because they've got their Social Security, they've got their income from their stocks or whatever it is, their pensions, they own a home, that maybe they've paid it off, and they're doing okay. Maybe they're in a job category that's had good increases in income, and so they're feeling okay. I think what you're hearing from the real folks, the working folks, yeah, the real folks. I mean, the hard working stiffs. They're saying they're under financial stress. So two worlds here, but overall, average right now, not that much financial stress. This is seasonally adjusted initial claims. And then the note here is how flat it is. This is not normal. So today the number came out, 225,000. This only goes through January. I think it goes through January. Maybe that is June. Anyway, so we've got, through June 1, 2024. So this is right at the date, and it's just so flat. And it seems like that's impossible. But it's continued to be this way for month after month after month after month. And so it'll be interesting to see if this number ever breaks out one way or the other, up or down. But you can see this is statistically extremely unusual. All right, this is a historical jobs index trend. Got the jobs report, of course, out tomorrow. That's why I'm bringing this up. Historical jobs index trend. And once again, let me move my little picture out of the way here. And so what we're looking at here is that before the pandemic, you had this normal looking trend in terms of where unemployment was, where employment was. You had the big drop off, then you had a gigantic gain, and now that jobs index has been coming down, 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 down to right now where it's just about normalized. So when you hear the Fed chairman talking about normalization, the normalization after the pandemic, that's what he's talking about. So if it goes lower than this, well, that's a problem. And it's already a little lower than just prior to the pandemic. So we'll see what that means. We'll find out tomorrow what's happening with the jobs, at least for this month. All right. This has to do with the stress on the regional banks. And what you're showing here is the gains versus losses of FDIC insured institutions. So right now what you're seeing is that the banks are underwater. A lot of banks are underwater. What you're hearing the other day is a lot more banks have been put on watch list. I'm not going to go into the details of what all this means on this one, but all you can see is the gains versus losses thing has gone into the loss column. And so regional banks are in trouble, and most of that is due to those commercial office buildings that are really getting slammed. All right, so this is Truflation. You know, I've kind of lost confidence in Truflation. I think this chart will help you understand why, and at the same time show you what they're showing in terms of directionality on inflation. They're saying inflation is right now at 2.19, so that would be right now. Now CPI comes out next week. Would I guess that Truflation is going to be well over 2.19? Yes. I'm going to guess it's over 3. That's just a guess, but what I've been seeing at least last month, remember we're looking rear view mirror, so we're way past the actual date. Those numbers were being accumulated, whereas Truflation says this is right now. But what I want to show you are these massive changes. There, see that big drop? See that big drop? See that big increase? See that big increase? See that big drop? See that big increase, and then see that big drop. So these increases and decreases aren't happening over weeks and weeks. These are happening over one day. So this is a 1 day decrease, like over here, and then a 1 day increase right here, and a 1 day increase, one day increase there, a 1 day decrease. So those decreases and increases have been happening at the beginning or the end of the month. I'm sorry, at the beginning of a month, or sometimes right in the middle when they get new data. And I'm all for them getting new data, but the problem is when they get new data, all of a sudden they make this massive change. And then they also change stuff that was just prior to that, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks, and they throw off all of the ability to be able to understand what the trend is. So anyway, that's my beef with Truflation. However, overall, I think it's interesting to take a look here and see that at least what they're showing right now is we had this massive trend line up, okay, massive trend line up just over the last couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden they got new data in and they dropped it dramatically all the way back down to where it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and way below where it was, say, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. So what's going on? Is this real or is this real? Is this real or is that real? I don't know which is real. These are only at 2.8, and I'm going to guess that that's where the CPI is going to come in, somewhere around there, maybe 3. Okay, so I just thought that was interesting. I just want to throw that out there. All right, they do have this fun one. This is called the Big Mac Index. And the Big Mac Index is showing the real price of a Big Mac, what it actually cost you if you go buy one right now, versus the adjusted price based on inflation. So right now, if you adjust it based on inflation, it's not that far away from where it was. You can see the blue line here. It was at 350 or whatever. Now it might be at 370, but it's actually gone below for a minute, went below here. Okay, but if you talk about it in terms of real dollars, you're paying $5.69 for a Big Mac that just a couple of years ago was costing you $3.49 or $3 and I don't know, I can't tell for sure, 39 cents, something like that. Anyway, I thought that was a fun one that they put up every day. Oops. So what I wanted to do at the end here was remind us to take a look at Tesla and just see what it was doing here at the end of the show. So it is now up $3.35, so doing a little better than it was at that moment. Be sure to hit the like button. Don't tell Cern that I copied his idea. I mean, I was just doing it for 1 week as a fill-in. I'll let Cern do this in the future. But anyway, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I need more subscribers. If you're not subscribed, why not? Hit the subscribe button and then go down below. I don't think I've had a Patreon member today. So I was getting like one a day every day. And then all of a sudden I haven't had one today. So if you've been thinking about maybe this is a time to hit the tip jar. I know tipping is getting to be kind of like, too many tips. Got a tip here, got a tip there. But if you're getting value, you see, yes, I'm getting some income from this from YouTube. It's not bad, it's not horrible, but probably would equal about $30 an hour. Do you think I'm worth a little more than $30 an hour? So the difference between what they pay me and what the tip is becomes some kind of reality. It's not unlike a waiter, where the restaurant might be paying minimum wage to the waiter, but the waiter is really worth more than minimum wage. So that's why you give a tip. Anyway, kind of the same idea. If that makes sense to you and you can afford $3 a month, do not do it. If the $3 a month is going to be a hardship, $5 a month, $10 a month, you get special prizes and stuff. So, all right, that's all I got for you right now. Let me stop sharing. And then, as always, I'd like to say, it has been great talking to you.